said I'm going to talk for 10 minutes and they've heard it already, but they're here now and they can't get out very easily because they've got a whole load of kit in this room, and so they're going to have to sit and listen. I want to say thank you very much to Polly Wright for the kind words and trusting me to write this piece. It didn't always go so well, does it? You know, all that stuff about we rehearsed it in one day. And it's going to be somewhere out there going, I'll just pay 10 quid for this. Well, let's hope. But I've got to say, first of all, before I say anything, is that these people behind me have worked so hard today in this church. We started at 11 this morning. We were going to go on to 4:30. We did go on to 4:30. We had short breaks and we worked really hard. So whatever comes out of today will be really down to them. The band at the back, we've only really had a very short rehearsal prior to today, and they're all fabulous musicians. I'm very proud to be working with them, and I'd also like to thank Jason. He's done so well with the sound today. There's lots of thanks coming rather than what might come, but we keep up with this cross for that. I also want to thank my wife for her amazing support. As I'm writing this, because it wasn't a thing to get it written, but I enjoyed doing it so much. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you're about to hear. So although I know you have this piece of paper here, some of you may have read it, some of you may have just done it. Now I don't know, it's a bit like the Divide, isn't it? When you're at school, you get given a handout and you put it in your bag, and some people read it, some people go highlight it. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this. Okay? Someone said to me the other day, oh, how did you write it so quickly? And I write stuff usually when I'm washing up or taking my dogs out. I don't sit down and say, well, it's a piano and do it. The ideas are coming to me, as I said, about stories. And I love stories. And the thing that intrigued me about this was that we don't really have a story for what you're just about here. We know that on this day, in 1577, there was a visitation from someone. You call it Black Shuck, you call it Black Bob, you call it terrorist, you can call it whatever you like, but something happened in this church where we are all sitting during the thunderstorm. And then we know that it went to Blythburgh. We don't know anything about what happened after that. We don't know how this thing got to Blythburgh. And it got me thinking, let's create a story called The Journey, and let that journey be the theme. Traveling. Now for me, the thing is you. For me, the thing is what we come across all the time, what we read about in the newspapers. So whatever happened here on the 4th of August 1577 was a bad thing. And I wanted to explore how that thing moved away. So the journey is a metaphor for moving through. So at the end of the journey, it's not a pulling the dog up and stringing it up. It's basically saying goodbye to it, because that makes us stronger, I feel. Anyway, I was thinking, wow. So we left this church. I got an old map, an old 16th century map, and I drew a line to Blythburgh. And I thought, where have we gone from here to Ilketshall? Go across the town. From there to Redisham. Redisham to Westhall. Westhall to Blyford. Blyford to Blyford. And I started thinking, well, that's important. I've got a piece of me, what am I going to call them? I'll call them that, Ilketshall. I'll call them Redisham. That's a catchy tune. You want to be humming that around. Well, there's got to be some story. And then the story started happening. So Ilketshall on the wall, and then we have a wall painting of the Wheel of Fortune. The thing that we have no control over. And in medieval times, it was terribly important. There was some deity controlling this. Sometimes you were at the bottom of the pile. Sometimes you were in good fortune at the top. Mostly it had something to do with your moral life, or how rich you were, or how well you could cope with life. That's an interesting thing. Now, why did this happen here? Something happened on the Wheel of Fortune for Bungay that day. There on, travels to Redisham, and at Redisham I found this man called Adrian Bell, who lived in that village in the 1930s, 40s, and written a lot about agriculture and about what we would call now green issues. How to get good things from the land, how to look after the things that look after the land. And that made me think how important harvests were in those days. You know, you've got food in shops here. You go, I went into the shop this morning and I bought coffee and tea for the choir, and it was easy. Put the credit card. Many times you couldn't do that. If you didn't have corn, you couldn't have bread. You couldn't have bread, you could feed yourself and children. So the harvest was important. And I was interested in this man halfway through the 20th century, how he'd written about this, and it got me thinking about things don't change too much. Harvest is still important. Agriculture, we live in such a rich area of agriculture. Then he moves on. He comes to Westhall. And at Westhall I found a very tiny sliver of a story about the Bowen family. And the Bowen family had a link to the Plantagenets. And the Plantagenets came from northern France. And in northern France, the legend is that Mathilde, Geoffrey, Bungay, had a child. This child was in some way linked to the spawn of death. And the Plantagenet line was born from that. Richard II said, my family comes from the devil, and till the devil will return. That's interesting. He moves from there. And at Blythburgh, he finds a sign above the inn. It's to St. Elmira. She was a 6th century princess, a strong woman who was forced into marriage, twice actually, but she would not give up her duty. She wanted to have the independence as a woman at that time. When her second marriage failed, she basically made her way to Ely, and at Ely, she formed a nunnery. And she did great things. Not the great abbey of the cathedral, but a little church in Ely itself. And that link to Blythburgh goes from Ely. So the Mercy Kings, the battles of Wessex and this kind of thing. I was interested in that crossing stand and the fact that this dog, this thing, would come across the travel. Anyway, he gets to Blythburgh. And he comes in the York door. And he does what he did here. He causes mayhem and fear. And then these people behind me represent the congregation of that church. And they say to the dog, go. You see it moving out. Get out of the south door. And as he goes out of the south door, he comes to the estuary. And at the estuary, he doesn't know where to go. And they say, get into the water. Gets into the water. The last we see of Shuck is he moving away to a song of farewell by this group of people onto the horizon. We don't know where he goes. We know where he can return. But in our story, he goes from somewhere. Thank you.
through a dark air, a chameleon of sins, bartering hope, bartering pleasure, bartering all the things they need. Tempting, as I go through this myriad of bright sparklings, a season of different colours, confusing their minds, thinking me a god, thinking me hopeful, allowing me to twist and turn, manipulate, scare, and all for the sake of me. The pursuit of me through the corridors of time, craving their destiny. our ways, and tending of it is all that they can do. But the wheel turns, and the sun won't always shine, the soft rain fall. The ice will burn as droughts, and heads will shake, hands will wring, and children will lie awake hungry in the night. Joy of harvest taking flight.
being born today. So thank you all for coming and listening to us. Dide sang beautifully, aging. The flute and the clarinet and the saxophone. The guitar. And Lloyd, thank you everybody. And Mike narrating wonderfully is always my favourite. There were some moments this afternoon, I think people were looking around and going, gosh, this is interesting, this is different. And I was saying, it's all right for us in the choir who are singing classical singers, because actually we know that William is very brave and very creative and actually pushes boundaries with what he does. So I think for us who were in the choir, we thought we knew it would come off all right tonight. But for the people here who haven't sung with William before, I just said, trust him, because he actually knows what he's doing. And he trusted us tonight, and, well, that's what he does. But we wouldn't be here tonight without Polly. These are for you. Polly's brilliant. Vicious. Polly, she'd be the first one to say. I've seen lots of them here tonight. And James, and we're going to miss out people. I don't want to miss anybody out. Adam. Who else was mentioned? Oh, Dide! And Dide's here. Is Dide here? Oh, brilliant. Dide's here. Dide's amazing. So much by the town. All the time. For Bungay. Jane's here doing photos. There's just so many people we can thank. But really, those are for Polly. And, she's sort of. Right, Chuck.
Thanks, Victoria. I just want to say on behalf of the festival, I don't know about you, I was absolutely blown away by that performance, and isn't it incredible what you can pull off in a day? I mean, it's amazing, and the range of amazing, talented performers behind me, extraordinary, and William, that piece is amazing. I just think I want to see it next year with 200-piece choir. I'd also like to thank St Mary's Church, the Friends of St Mary's, who have been absolutely amazing this weekend. They're leaving very late, and what a spectacular building. How lucky we are to be able to host these amazing performances here. And this event marks the end of Black Shuck Festival 2024, and I cannot think of a better finale. So thank you so much everyone for coming, and thank you to William and the incredible